Welcome to Possibility Sheets. This is our first podcast, and we're so excited to have here our first guest, Georgette Chapa. But before we start the interview, my name is Erica Crespo, and I'm the Senior Director of Program for AVANCE San Antonio, and I will be your host for this podcast. For you, families and community, you don't know what it's AVANCE. AVANCE is a nonprofit organization that focuses empowering parents and children. And we've been doing this job in AVANCE from almost 50 years. And we walk alongside with children and caregivers in our community to achieve social and economic justice for our families. So thank you, Mr. Jed, for being here. And we're so excited to have Mr. Jed here because she's been working for AVANCE for almost 30 years.
Over 30.
Over 30 years. And she started as a parent-child education program participant. We call this program PSEP because it's our parenting signature program. And as a participant, she has moved in different positions, and now she's the parent education manager at one of our centers at our Carmen P. Cortez. So thank you so much for being here, Mr.
My
Ted.
pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And we would like to know, and let's go back to, I don't want to say the year, but when you started as a parent. Why AVANCE? Why you decided to participate in the program with your child?
Well, first of all, I was invited to come to the program. My sister-in-law used to work there. And I thought that I was going to come to a place where they were going to tell me how to raise my child. And I thought that I knew it all because I was 20 years old, and, you think that you know everything. But when I was sitting there at the first parenting lesson, I realized that I didn't know really or understand fully my role as a parent. Is different taking care of other children versus when you become a parent. Then I saw the opportunity at AVANCE, just the meaning of the name. AVANCE means to move forward, to prosper. And then I saw that as an opportunity where I was able to socialize with other parents. And also I had the opportunity to have my child learn and interact with other children. And those were aspects that I didn't really have at home, especially for my young children. So that's why I decided to participate at AVANCE. I was interested in AVANCE because it was free of charge, and it still continues to be because it is a nonprofit organization. And I was going to benefit from something that I was looking for, continue to provide the learning opportunities for my child in a classroom setting.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And from being a participant in the parenting program to now be the parent education manager at one of our centers, specifically for our parenting program, what is the step that you needed to take through the years to accomplish to be right now in the position that you are?
During my tenure with AVANCE, I always recognized that there was so much need in the community. From food insecurity, domestic violence, child neglect. So when I was given the opportunity to be there, at first I was called in, as a parent, and then I was invited to come and apply for other positions. And I went in and I wanted to apply for a cook position, for a childcare position, cleaning. It didn't matter to me. All I wanted it to be part of this amazing organization. And then I have the opportunity to realize that I was competing. I remember they invited me to come and interview for home educator because during my interviews for the other positions, I will continue to focus on the need in the community. So I was invited to come and interview for the position of home educator. And I thought that I didn't have a chance because I was competing with other people who were attending college at the time. But then I did get the position, and I've been with AVANCE since then. So this past November, I just made my 31-year mark with AVANCE. So that's what I did. So
And just a quick note, Mr. Jed and I, we graduated together, right, in San Antonio College. You want to share a little bit about your education journey and through the years?
yes. So at Avance, there was a time that we had the opportunity to have child development credential sessions, and they were bringing those classes to us in collaboration with Alamo Community Colleges. I think it was San Antonio College, because it was used also as a lab, for early childhood education. And I never considered to go into this field, but then when I was given the opportunity, I said, why not, right? Then because of that, I earned my child development credential, which is a CDA, in a home setting. So after working for PISA for 2 years, and also with the Even Start program that we used to have under the Avance umbrella, I was offered an opportunity in the home-based program with Early Head Start, which it was a recent expansion back in 1997, to join Avance, but on now with Early Head Start program. So it took me 10 years to earn my associate's degree at San Antonio College, because life happens. It happens to all of us, right? So I didn't have the opportunity, I had to make decisions sometimes that it was like I couldn't juggle so many, aspects of life and keep balance between work and raising children and being a full-time employee, etc. So it took me 10 years, but I'm okay, because I'm okay now, but I was frustrated because every time that I would go back, new courses needed to be added. So until I said, this is it, I need to finish this. And that's when you and I coincide graduation day, earning my associates in early childhood studies.
And then you graduated with your BA, right?
Then I graduated with my BA, so I had already had some courses and credits at the University of UTSA here in San Antonio, because I was participating also in it was called the Summer Institute, and it was a designing program to help employees also earn their degree all the way to a BA. And because of that, when I went back after I learned my associates, I knew that it was very difficult not to be consistent, and I had the opportunity to have flexibility during the summer, to be able to earn some of my hours or credits, or in the field, hours. And so I did. I earned my degree in 3 years, but it was because I had already prior experience at the university. But it was also a challenge, Erika. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because English is not my first language. I never had a formal education to say GED. So I started with earning my GED. Terca, I was very stubborn. I didn't want to do it in Spanish, because why? I already did that in Mexico. So I decided to do it in English, and I passed really good with math, with my math. It was excellent, great scores. But when I had to do the writing and the social, I couldn't do it. So it took me another 2 years to finally earn my my GED, and then that's how I was able then. So it had a lot of, little steps here and there, that finally put it all together into the proper steps to go up the ladder in my education. And then I finished, that's one thing that I really set that as my personal goal for education. It was completing my bachelor's degree, because I wanted to finish before my children graduated from college. It didn't happen, but that's okay. I'm still pleased, because there was a time that it was my 2 older children and myself going to college at the same time.
Yeah, great. And something that I always remember when we had visitor in Avance, I always hear you saying, I'm a product of Avance. And you exemplify what we want with our families and parents. And thank you so much for this. And that it's very great. And the next question that I have, how PISA shape, and let's go back when you had your little kids and they were little, how PISA shape your parenting skills, and how do you see that impacted in your children's life?
So, well, I have to make sure, through the learning, that I attained, through Avance, was that understanding my role as a parent was very critical in order for me to be able to design also a home that it was a healthy and loving environment where my children have the opportunity to learn and also understand that education was seen as a valuable, a value that cannot be compromised ever. That's some of the concepts that I did learn at Avance early on. So I ensured that my home was my child's first classroom, and that I was my child's first and most important teacher, along with my husband as well. Yeah, like he has behind the scenes, but he has always been there, to support me in the journey of being parents to our children.
Yeah, because it takes two, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for our listeners that if you don't know, Avance celebrated the 50th anniversary last year. And we're so excited because we were able to celebrate it in the community and at our different chapters. But from your perspective, Mr. Jed, what makes Avance unique and different from other nonprofit and other organizations? What Avance has that you don't see in the community and other organizations?
So I really believe that Avance is very unique in just the way that we see families with potential. Even though the families have not yet discovered their potential, we already see that they have the potential to create impact in our community, and starting from, with their own children and their families at home. That's what I think is one of the aspects and attributes, of Avance. We do not judge anyone. We meet the families where they are. Some families need you to, at the beginning, to walk them through the process, holding hands. I understand about independency, however, not everybody is ready. So meeting the families where at the level or the station in their lives that they are, that's what makes us unique. Also, we are, even though that we focus on the Latino community, we embrace and really ensure that we foster that, and we honor, diversity and inclusion is part of the qualities that we have at Avance.
That's very important. Diversity and inclusion, especially nowadays, it's so important that this organization is not just for a specific group of our community, but it's for everybody. And from this past 30 years that you've been in Avance, what are those moments that feel you like, yes, this is why I'm here? What could be one, and from the parenting perspective, you've been a parent educator, and I know that probably you have many stories to share about parents, but something that tells you in your heart, like, this is my place. This is why I'm here in Avance.
I've seen so many families going through struggles. Everybody struggles. But I think that having Avance on this side, it helps you to recognize, the beauty that there is in life and the community. I always say this, Avance is kind of like a window of opportunity, but our window of opportunity at Avance is a sliding door when you step out, and then the possibilities are endless because it's not up to you, and you have a whole community of Avance supporting you along the way. So that's what I think, I strongly believe in that.
Perfect, thank you. And as you know, our podcast is Possibility Sheet, Hoja de Posibilidades, and there's a reason for that. And it's because this is one of the tools that we use right in our toy making class. So for Mr. Jed, would you like to a little bit tell us what is the toy making class? So what it is exactly, the toy making class, and how all this you see here are some of the toys that families are going to be doing, or they do during the 9 months of our parenting class. So what is your philosophy and impact of the toy making class in our families?
So the toy making class is the hook to get the parents involved. It's what makes you kind of like the catch. That's the catch, to get your attention and eagerness to come and socialize. We have round tables. Even back in, 50 years ago, our founder had this incredible vision, of Avance, and thought of every, along with a team that helped build Avance curriculum, to think about, it was very thoughtful, and thorough on how the design of the program is. So having the round tables, fosters, conversations with the people that are sitting there, and that's how I remember making my friends at AVANCE. And then you start building the toy, and then you have an instructor to teach you about being frugal and mindful of the materials that we receive. Because somebody's sponsoring it, so we have to be mindful and respectful of that. But also we enjoy, that how we can create out of scrap materials or recycled materials. So we were thinking back then, very, at a young age about recycling. I had to transform and build that into a beautiful, educative toy with purpose and meaning. So every toy that we build at AVANCE, the parents have the opportunity to receive the possibility sheet, and it teaches them the different concepts that they're going to be able to teach their child. Especially we focus on language development, cognitive, how we're going to be able to ensure that the child understands and connects these concepts. We talk about emotional, the happy and sad pillow is one of my favorites, because we have the opportunity for children to learn about be kind to others, to also process their thoughts about emotions. It's not just about being happy, be sad. It could be frustration. It could be, I'm angry. But how we're going to teach our children to regulate those emotions, that's how we're going to be able to help them being equipped for life, and also to be able to be successful academically, to be able to know how to interact with others and how to get along with others, but also how to process and understand that there's always, they have to be resilient. We see a lot of that weakness area right now in our community, and we want to make sure that we teach these concepts. First, the parents need to absorb that information, know how to present that, help the children, and then being able to teach them to be resilient. Children are resilient by nature, but if we have that guide, and the parent becomes that important element that is essential for the child's understanding on how to process emotions, then we're going to have a better society.
Yeah, and that is very important, to help and give the parents the tool to learn how to self-regulate their emotions in order for them to help their children too.
So that is mental wellness as well.
Yes.
Mental wellness, and then understanding, what is toxic stress. Am I creating that scenario at home, or am I able to be the agent that changes that in the home? And then by doing so, how am I going to be able to prepare my child to feel, to be able to have better or build better relationships as they become older,
Great. So possibility sheet. How you will define possibility sheet? What it is for the parent,
I think it's a mapping tool to teach the parents exactly how to utilize each toy. I like to go over, as a parent educator, we're in the classroom. Yes, our toy instructor is responsible to do that with the parents, but when we are able to discuss the possibility sheet with the toy on, hands-on during the parenting class, then the parents are able to make the connections with the topic that we're teaching, and then to be able to implement that learning in the daily interactions that are going to be, on the long run, have an impact on the child's growth and development as well. So it is a mapping, the blue map, or the blueprint of our program, of the parenting, as a guide for parents. Yeah.
That is great. And for our listeners, it's very important to mention that each of the AVANCE toy has a possibility sheet where it's part of the AVANCE parenting curriculum, but also explain, as Mr. Jen mentioned, it's a tool for parents to understand with this toy, parent can stimulate the different parenting and developmental domains in the child's learning. So that's also the reason that we call this podcast Possibility Sheets as a tool for our parents, but also for our staff and for our community they're listening. So,
yes, Erika, you're right, because the possibility sheet doesn't focus only on language and cognitive developments or emotional, but it's also talking about mathematical concepts, the self-concept, early literacy, It just covers all aspects that are necessary and part of the, to equip the child to be able to be ready to learn once they transition into a school setting.
From your experience in Avance and being a parent educator with our families, have you seen that the toy making class has created opportunities for our parents to develop all other skills or to, for example, start a business or work in an organization? Have you seen that the toy making class benefit our participants?
Definitely. I seen that firsthand, parents who have been able to build, to make the dolls with Avance, and then they start getting a little bit fancier, and adding more similar hair, natural hair, looking for perhaps for one of our local stores, retails, and beautifying this to another level, and they're selling them. I remember buying many years ago, my sister-in-law would buy them from this one parent that was making these beautiful dolls, and she would change them, according to the whatever holiday, if it was Valentine's Day, it was, fiesta, etc. But they were beautiful. Also, another parent who was building, it was a father actually, and he was excited about, like, hey, we can make this and sell at the flea market, a hobby horse, and they did. And that is, when you have out of an idea and turn that into a revenue, financially it's going to benefit your family, why not? That is the purpose. That's what is called the possibility sheets, because this is where we're taking you, but there has more possibilities. There's no such thing. With Avance, there's no limit. We're just giving you the, the mapping, the exploring, but then how you get there, it's up to you.
It's up to the parents, right? And the families, but that is great. That is great. Thank you, Ms. Georgette. And now we are moving to our section that we call History Time. So, Ms. Georgette, can you recount your most memorable Avance moment? It could be something funny. It can be something heartwarming. I know Ms. Georgette has many stories, but how can you recount the most memorable Avance moment that you might have?
I'm gonna share two. One that was very impactful to me was when we lost Carmen P. Cortez in a car accident. She was on her way to Laredo for the grand opening of the Laredo chapter. And
I'm sorry, Ms. Can you explain to our listeners who is Carmen P. Cortez?
So Carmen P. Cortez was very instrumental in the development of our curriculum, Avance curriculum. She was best friends with Gloria Rodriguez, our founder, and they're both, have very, they complement each other with so much knowledge they bring to the table. I believe that they met up, or they became friends at Our Lady of the Lake University. And so Carmen was a beautiful run writer. So, she was very well known and respected in the educational field. So yeah, she was very instrumental, and she was one of a kind. She had a beautiful personality. In the center that I work, or one of the standalone buildings that we have in Avance, it is named in honor to, in memory of Carmen P. Cortez. So that's one. And the one that I was thinking about it to share, and I am going to share it because coincidentally, let me tell you that before I came, I took a phone call and somebody was asking for me. And it's funny because I was just thinking about this lady an hour ago. And so this is a parent who was in my parenting class. And I asked her, I remember doing a presentation and it was about goal setting. And I said, I see that you have a lot of potential. You need to continue with your education. And do you have a high school diploma or do you have some college? And she goes, I never graduated from high school. My brother-in-law had to quit attending school because my mom was sick with cancer. And no one ever came. That's why she had this issue with education, because no one ever came to visit, to follow up with them, why they were not attending school. And she goes, but you have become that figure. I don't know why. And I sometimes, I feel not annoyed, but bothered, but you still don't quit. Asking me and telling me that, I need to go back and do something. So then, to make a long story short, as much as I can, we have been also long partners, with San Antonio College, the Women Empowerment Center, and they started, I remember, more than 25 years ago with that, annual conference, and it is to empower and inspire other women. And so we went in May, I remember taking her with me in May, and she earned the scholarship. She won the scholarship. Really? She had to write an essay. I was on her, constantly about, finish it, let's turn it in. Her and other parents. But so she did. She ended up getting a scholarship that day. So that was the first, step to get her back. Kind of like not much that I was saying, but also that she had a certificate. She had the scholarship. So let's go back and let's get you enrolled. So she got enrolled, and I have gone through. So then one day, I was teaching class, and somebody came and dropped off an invitation, and she says, I have limited invitations, but this is for you, and I want you to be there. So that was an invitation for her graduating from Incarnate Word with her bachelor's degree. 2 years later, I get another invitation, and it was with her master's degree. She called me today before I came over here, and she asked me, I'm back to San Antonio. I moved back in San Antonio, and I'm calling you because I'm a director for one of the nonprofit organizations, and we would like to bring some material and information to your agency. I said, that's fascinating. Thank you so much. And of course, that makes me cry, but I know that, and I was there, at the graduations, and I remember that I was crying there because I am very sensitive, right? But she was like, why are you crying? I was like, because I see you here today where you didn't believe in education. You wanted it to give up. And she goes, but I never did because you make the difference. I said, yeah, I did inspire you, but you make it happen. So, yes. So, yes, I have a lot of many other, but that one always stay on me because that's what's so important to continue going back to always check on parents why they're not here. Or even, not forgetting, that really a lot of people that are not coming, not because they don't want to come, because we treat them well. We make them feel very welcome, and it's all about them, very special because parents are special. And that's why we are here at AVANCE.
Yeah, it's trusting in our families and give them an opportunity for them to bloom, to be, because sometimes that's what family just need, one opportunity. So thank you, Mr. J, for sharing
the opportunity. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Polly, I'm gonna go to the inspirational part, and I don't want to keep you crying, but I know that you share in our 50th anniversary storybook about your family, and you share about your son, Darley's. He did a beautiful speech in one of our parenting graduation in 2022. And it was very inspirational. So, but from you, Miss Georgette, as a parent, what did it mean to you to see your son that came through the program share your family, history in front of everybody in the graduation? What it meant for you?
I think, I was really surprised to see how much he remembers, from all these opportunities where we told our children to do things. I remember one aspect that it was very unique to me was that he was like, I still, during his speech, I still remember burning my finger by making all those graduation caps that you're wearing today. Not that day, but before, right? And it was amazing, and they remember the many other opportunities where we'll drag our children along with us, to fulfill, the commitment that we had out of AVANCE or events that we had to go. But they also had the opportunity to learn and understand and appreciate, that, not everybody lives the same way, and how we can make that, different, for others. So I think that's one of the parts. Also that he was, I was very impressed, how he remembers, the things that we discuss at home, the opportunities. I remember he will mention also, like, there's no such thing as a perfect parent, as a perfect child. You're never going to have that. And also he spoke about, to the audience, he addressed them as, I'm not here to talk to you about being a parent, because I'm not a parent, but I'm here to talk to you about, from a child's point of view, from a child's perspective. So yes, continue to encouraging your children, continue to making all these amazing things that Avance teaches you, because it's going to allow one day to see your children the way you see me here today. So that was very inspirational. I think is very valid, that she was able to do that. And also they continue to make so much of an effort, like doing volunteer work. My children involved with organizations, nonprofits that work specifically with youth, to become those role models for them, a positive role model, for those children that perhaps didn't have a positive male role model, but they want to continue to go back and then give back to the community the way we were receiving through Avance.
Mm-hmm. And that is great that Darlie shared, because he learned from you and your husband. Also, that is great, and sharing from the child's perspective. From now and 10 years, how do you see Avance in 10 years?
I am waiting. Not that I'm waiting, but I want to be able to wait.
Waiting for what?
I'm waiting to see that child to come to the surface with the, that is running for office. And we're going to have the greatest, political, the great leader that this nation needs. I'm waiting for also, the next president of Avance, president of the United States, or the CEO of Avance, that it was a child that was, also part of our program. Or for once to have that child that goes into medical, that comes up with a solution for, cancer, that is really, really taking so many and hitting lots of homes. And it's not like home run, but it's like, it hits home, and when it hits home, it's hard. Or the cure for cancer is the number one that that I'm thinking of, especially affecting so many people, but especially our young children. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have research, but I think that we need someone that comes out with a solution to that. Yeah,
perfect. That will be great, right? To have one of our Avance child, Avance baby, be a president or a doctor that is able to find a cure of those diseases that is affecting our community.
So imagine to have a child, doctor, and then Avance child.
Yes, we will need to track those.
It's valid to dream, and not to dream. But you dream it, you believe it. It comes.
If you're a doctor and you're an Avance child, and your mom or dad participate in Avance, please contact us. We have an alumni group that we need to follow up. So please, you will see our information here at the bottom. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Jet. So now we're moving to the other section in our podcast, that is rapid fire round. So I'm gonna answer you some questions, and you're gonna answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay? And that part was not shared. Okay,
I know. I'm not familiar with that part.
Okay, so very quick. What is your favorite toy from the toy making class, and why?
It is a happy sad pillow.
Why?
Because it talks about emotions and allows us to be more in control and emotionally, and allows us to be more to think and develop emotional intelligence.
Perfect. Describe Avance one word. One word. I know it's going to be hard for her. One word. Avance.
One word. Fabulous.
It's great. I like that. If you could have dinner with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
My family.
What's your go-to comfort food after a long day at work?
Chilaquiles.
Cool. Those are so good. She made some very good chilaquiles. Okay. What is your piece of advice or resource would like to share with our listeners?
Always treat your children with dignity and respect. Read to them every night. There's 2 books that I love to recommend. One is, they're like 2 favorite ones. It is called All the Things You Can Do with Dr. Seuss, because it's just talking about the possibilities, all the challenges you're going to come across along the way. But that's not what it matters, is how we make it to the end. That's it. And the second book I love, and see, I encourage parents to always, offer the book, and they don't want to take it. And it's not that it's not a good book. It's just because they don't know. It looks boring, maybe, their parents. But it's called Press Here. And I think it is the name of the art, Toulette, Hervé Toulette. And I love that one because it sparks imagination and curiosity in young children. It gives a lot of directions also, and is teaching children how to follow directions. How many of us, we do not follow directions, and we can get into the wrong dead ends because we're not following directions. So those are 2 fabulous books. All the Places You Go by Dr. Seuss, or the Harvey Toulette Press Here button. It's very interactive. Parents have so much fun with it. And children will be learning and develop so many skills.
Great. Now, Ms. Georgette, something that you would like to share for our AVANCE staff, new or our seasoned staff that have been working with AVANCE? What would you like to share with them?
For the seasoned staff, thank you for all the years of commitment, because it really takes a heart and passion to work at this program. It's not easy. You have to believe in it, and in order for us to be able to sell the product. And for new, or not that many, the new, staff members, I can tell you that AVANCE is a beautiful organization, and we just need to go by the mission statement that we have. I know mission statement has gone through so many changes, but I think we have I used to memorize them all, but this one is the shortest one, and I haven't memorized that.
I remember the time that we needed to learn our mission long statement.
Yeah. But I remember when I started 31 years ago, I think it was it was a whole page, and I memorized that, but not anymore. But it is truly, just believe that what is my motivation every day to go to work? Just think about the impact you're going to create in someone's life. It really happens. I've seen that. I am a product of AVANCE. So are my family. And we continue to make a difference in this country.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Jeff, for sharing your story and sharing all the you have to share about our families and all the success stories that we would like to have a book and able to track everybody's, but that's why our listeners, if you are one of our AVANCE parents or children, please contact us. We would like to know how you are, how your family is. And also, thank you so much for reminding our community the importance of education. Our role as a parent, as the most important teacher, is very important. So thank you, Mr. Jet.
Thank you, Erika. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And for our listeners, we are starting this podcast. We're so excited. This podcast, some of them will be in Spanish, some of them will be in English. We're going to have very important guests from the community, from our organization, our families and children. And education and community, it's very important for our to continue our mission and our core values. That's very important. So this has been Possibility Sheet. Erika Crespo, your host, and see you soon. Ciao.